here. Now broadcasting from the unknown Nullsec outpost. Deep in the bowels of a hidden hangar, somewhere under the scrap and steel of a nondescript citadel, we've once again made contact with our leader, Rambo. You are listening to the Echoes of New Eden podcast.
So welcome everybody. Welcome to Echoes of New Eden podcast. I know for the audience, they're anticipating some comeback intro. And actually, I didn't have that on the live broadcast in the Discord this time around. But I'm glad to be here with you guys and discuss some things of Echoes, Eve Echoes that is, and, you know, get all the latest and greatest in what has happened in the past few weeks. And so, of course, it's been a while. It's like well over a month since we've had a podcast last. And the last one, I was actually looking in the in my content channel. The last one that we posted was on August 17th. So it's been quite a while. And I can come up with every excuse and say, you know, as to why we haven't done it. You know, a multitude of different reasons. I wouldn't necessarily say lack of content, but from the game, from the devs themselves, there's been quite a lack of content. Now, in this recent patch notes, we did get some new stuff, some bomber type stuff, but there's probably only 3 people in New Eden that use bombers nowadays, and so unless they were using those ships before, then maybe this update will be good for them. But then, you know, as well as they had some bugs and they fixed all those, and there's still bugs in the game, and they're doing all these little mini events. And so here we are for another week. And I've been busy as well, you know, been going out of town. I've been out of town almost every weekend for the past few weeks. And if it's not out of town, then I'm doing construction on my office. As you see, it's a different background on the video, of course, but it's still not even done yet. So let's we'll see how it finishes out. I still got some things to do, but again, I'm glad to be back and here with you guys. Welcome everybody, and we will get into some of the stuff that's been happening in New Eden lately. And, you know, of course, we'll go over the latest patch notes, and then there's been some and people have called it drama, rightfully so, some happenings that have happened in the Silent Alliance. And it seems like Silent Alliance has been in the news for the past few weeks, number of weeks, especially when it comes to the Reddit and that newspaper, in the Gulag, a lot of chat and talks about stuff going on there. We've had a number of corporations, or should I say alliances, leaving the Federation. And so that's, is it new news? Maybe not new, but that's happened over the past week and a half, 2 weeks now. Big names being VVV leaving the Federation, you know, for their reasons. And then Tulu, The Last of Us, they had left as well and formed their own alliance, as well as some other frustrations, and we'll get to that when we start covering the community news and some of the super losses and battles and all that type of stuff, as far as that goes. But You know, and of course we have the on-air chat too. If people have anything they want to add, if I'm missing some information, of course, put it in the on-air chat and I'll read over it and hit on it. And then also too, I want to have a little fun, and here I'll announce it now. It's kind of just an E1 mini game, and I am going to offer to the audience 1 billion ISK to the character that has the most M3 in their hangar. Now, not including ships, of course, item hangar. And of course, you can censor it too, post a screenshot in the on-air chat, and I'll take a look at it. Whoever has the most M3, as in they are the biggest EE hoarder, I want to know about it. And I'll give you a billion ISK if you post it in the on-air chat. So a mini game between the audience if they want to share their hoard. And of course, you know, I was talking in Corp chat last night about how I hoard a lot of stuff. And you know, I just barely ever sell stuff, so I continuously hoard it. And then, you know, I've got this estimated value in the hangar, and I'm like, well, I never really sell it, but yeah, single hangar, individual single hangar, all right? And we're not going to do a culmination of a bunch of hangars. But if you got a single hangar, and actually, if I'll go to mine real quick, and I'm probably not hard to beat considering my playstyle. But I'm going to go into my inventory hangar real quick and see what I got as far as M3 in one of my citadels here. So as soon as it loads, I know I need the drum roll. Select all. Dang it, it's not going to let me do it remotely. Generate list. Okay. I got 79 million. Oh, wait. No, I was going to say I have 79 million M3. 79 million M3. Okay? That's the number to beat. If you could beat that, we'll see. All right. So, onward. Let's get to the announcements and patch notes. Now, I don't have the announcements. I hadn't really looked at the Eve Echoes official Discord, though I could only really assume that there's not really that much to talk about. Now, I'll go over to the patch notes brought to you by honk.click/patch. And here we are. It gives us in a nice text here that I'm able to view via my browser. Now, I went to the official E1 or the EE Discord, and it said that I had to change my desktop to vertical, like as if I was looking at it on a mobile version or something. It wouldn't let me actually read the patch notes from there. So maybe a bug on their end, or if I'm just using a 2002 web browser, I don't know. But here we are to the patch notes, and this, of course, came out last week. And, you know, of course, they're going to do the maintenance is going to take 120 minutes to complete. And here's where they had the heavy bombers. With advances in weapon development, the Empire factions have introduced heavy bombers designed for the use of supercarriers. These bombers combine technologies from heavy attack fighters, sentry fighters, and missile launcher bombs. Their weapons are highly accurate and have a long range. Each bomber is equipped with a small missile launcher that can fire bombs at medium range, striking multiple targets at once. However, its low defense and flight speed make it unsuited for close-range combat. Okay, so how about bombers launch bombs, not fighters, correct? You're launching fighters that are bombers. So, I don't know how many supers have been using these. I'd be interested as to hear as how good they are as far as implant, DPS, you know, fit type of setting. Is it whether or not they're even useful in that aspect? Are they useful more so in PvE? Are they more useful in PvP? I guess we'll see. if there's any super pilots that want to comment on it. Otherwise, they don't have to. Heavy bombers use small bomb launchers. They can be loaded with small bombs. These bombs have reduced warhead charges, trading lighter weight for greater range at the cost of lower explosive power. 5 bomber models are available at launch: the Amitet, the Termite, the Antaeus, and the Gungnir. The Loyal Guardian. The Loyal Guardian has the highest weapon accuracy and the shortest range, excelling in mid to close range combat among its class. There you go. So if I didn't torture those names, there they are. Bomb is a gimmick. Yeah. Okay. OP application heavies. That's interesting. I haven't looked into them. I'm sure they're very expensive. We'll see. How to obtain these: you purchase the prototype blueprints from the market to obtain noble advanced blueprints from the capital ship testing ground, and use these blueprints to manufacture the bombers. Acquisition method: the integrated blueprints can be obtained by manufacturing through the Waste Seeker capital checkpoint and Waste Seeker 2 gravitational wave graphs. So, or you can do the event, obtain the Loyal Guardian bomber through the limited time supplies purchased from the store. Here it tells you how to launch bombs, in case you've never done it before. Those that are interested could read that. There's a couple combat tips here that they posted as well. When combined with the aerospace tactics and various modules, fighters can achieve a very long range. However, bombs have a much shorter range, and your fighters were previously engaged in long-range attacks. Recall them and adjust their orbit radius before attempting precise mid to close range bombing. That's interesting there. I know a lot of fighters do have their ranges dedicated. You know, you set their orbit at whatever their optimal is. But here, bombers have a shorter range, it appears. And you'll, of course, have to adjust. That's if you're using them. You'll have to adjust their orbit range so that their optimal will actually do damage. The Cosmic Anomaly. In the capital test ground, loot crates have a chance to drop the Noble Advanced Bomber Fighter blueprints, including bombers from the 4 great empires as well as the Loyal Guardian. The 4 empires are now selling heavy bomber prototype blueprints and small bomb blueprints in the market. The LP Store's bomb blueprint Optbox now includes small bomb blueprints. Jeez, a lot of bombs. A lot of Umbala. The update frequency for the market valuations has been increased. Okay. Then, of course, these fighters and bombs can be manufacturing, uses various minerals. So here we go with some skill adjustment. The Mining Foreman now also grants bonuses to drones equipped with the Mining Foreman burst modules. Level bonuses have been redistributed to scale more smoothly. At expert level 5, mining yield and range bonuses are raised from 20% to 25%, and fuel consumption is reduced from minus 20% to minus 25%. Expert bomb deployment activation time bonus adjusted from minus 25% to minus 30%. Another update that they did some weeks ago was they, on the Rourke, the Seal mod now compresses everything, which has been a very nice addition to that. No, I don't even remember if I seen that in a patch notes recently. In a couple weeks back, it may have been. Did some testing. They can definitely slap in the right circumstances, I bet. Yeah, I'd like to see a theorized DPS on some of those, whether or not it's a investment to partake in. All right, combat adjustments. When piloting Emperor or other novice ships sold by the empires in the market, the local list will no longer be visible in nullsec systems. Dun dun dun. So we'll pause here real quick too, and that's even if you have Omega. Even if you have Omega, any of the starter ships that you would get, you no longer see local in nullsec systems, which, you know, consider it low effort, but the the people that are running cam systems and such using those types of ships, they're just a freebie ship. You know, they'll undock and they'll just travel off into the distance or sit on a gate or whatever in a freebie ship and harvest the local number. That is no longer available to do. So they'll have to actually get some ships, put a little bit more effort into that. AOA is using 4 million shitty ships now. Yeah. Eventually, just watch. Eventually, it's local is gonna have to be like T10 only. Don't give them any ideas, but just watch. It's gonna get worse and worse and worse until they mitigate a lot of the cam issues. It's a stupid fix. We're just gonna get to the point where the cams have to be in BSs or something. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the evolution of them, right? So if they want them, if they're going to use them, then they're going to have to put the effort in to be able to use them, not just have a freebie. So that was a change, and even then, after that change was implemented, I did see there were still, it seemed maybe it was a bug, but they were still using pods and such for local. So that's just based off Alliance chat. There is no actual evidence that pods are still able to see local in certain systems. Maybe a bug, maybe. I'll give the benefit of the doubt. There's a lot of bugs. The Signal series Needlejack filaments are now affected by the system's signal strength. Systems populated only by novice ships are now harder to target with these filaments. Just imagine using a Needlejack and then there's one character in the system and it's like an Imperator, right? And they scan it down and it's like, oh, it's 1,000 meters off 1,000 kilometers off the gate. And that's all it does, right? So yeah, people are probably pretty frustrated with that. Yeah, the mining foreman drone up, the increase isn't that great, right? And even then, yeah, it's just I don't know, small change. It seemingly they had the need to change it for some sort of balance issue, probably. So if you pop a cam and leave it in the pod, it can't see local or the ships that go by. Now, you still... No, I don't know because I haven't tested it, whether or not a pod can see the overview. I think not. I don't think the pod can see overview. Okay, it can't. So, of course, it cannot see local. Right. So, I've seen some PvP videos out there where the cameraman gets popped in a pod and then local disappears. It is what it is, right? So, but of course, they're actively trying to combat that stuff. Corporation office adjustments. Corporation offices can now be closed remotely. Now, as a CEO, officers, whoever have this capability of doing this is a great quality of life change, especially when you make offices that are across New Eden. Stuff that maybe old offices that you're moving from to and fro, or if you did move out and you moved across New Eden and you couldn't close an office, or you didn't at the time, now you can do it remotely. So it's a small change, but to CEOs, I bet that is very nice to have. I wish we had that a couple years ago. So, and then in here, it just tells you how to do that. Hangar items will be delivered to the nearest low-sec trading center and require ISK to redeem. Of course, that's 15%. Is it 15%? I haven't done that in a while, too. New arrivals. The store now offers new heavy fighter supply. After opening it a certain number of times, you are guaranteed to receive integrated and augmented heavy fighter blueprints. The store also now offers assault carrier and lancer dreadnought nanocore supplies. Analyze them to receive multiple nanocore attributes and their entries for different ship tonnages. The faction store now offers one tradable mercenary portrait per faction, with a total of 5. All right, that's interesting there. I actually have to look into that. The faction store. Is that those avatars that we could put on our character cards? Is that what they're talking about? I know chat's very lively today. I wanted to check that out. I actually, when I was initially checking the patch notes, I'd actually forgot to come back to this and see if that's something that we can do, is change our corporation, our character card avatars. But just glancing through here real quick, they say the faction store now offers one tradable mercenary portrait per faction. All right, well, I don't really do faction warfare, so that's probably my issue. Daily special adjustments. Yay, they increased these. The special 1 Lazarus units plus General Nanosource 3s. The special 2 is the General Nanosource 4s plus IP. General Nanosource 4 plus Ascension Neurocompilers, cloned bound. So there is that. The Concord Pass update preview, of course, that will renew on October 1st and go to the end of the month. And they'll actually increase the amount of development materials in the Advanced Concord Pass too, raise the total amount of Concord credits obtainable, and introduce the new OptBox emoji reward. This OptBox will include 2 new emoji options. Yay. That's what New Eden needs, is more emojis, right? So, there's those, and I still wonder if they're going to be new ones or if they're going to be the previous ones that they've already crammed in our face. The Concord Pass shop will remove the regular Ship Core OptBox and the Ship Improvement System structure, while adding the Research Capital Ship Core OptBox for redemption. Nice. Capsulers in need should redeem the relevant rewards promptly. Stay tuned. And raise a hand if anybody's got over 1 million Concord points because they don't spend them. No? Anybody? Is it just me? Yeah, I don't really. I do Concord. I do the paid event every month. And I should be spending the Concord points, but I just haven't been. I've been saving them up for not hoping that we're going to get some more nanocore options available for other capital ships rather than just the the T1 capital ships. So here's an interesting thing too, the October Corporation Tournament preview. There's a registration time of October 16th going through October 19th. A new round of Corporation League will begin in October. The eligible corporations can register for free. So in the player registration list, the top 8 teams of the latest Inscription of the Galaxy leaderboard will be prioritized, with the top 4 from each of the 2 leaderboards. The remaining slots will be filled by selecting highly active corporations from the registration list and then randomly picking from them. Yikes. Big yikes there. That's all I gotta say about that. So they'll probably do that Corporation Clash type tournament. Again, nothing new if people have participated in that in previous years. That's one thing. But yeah, here top 8 from the latest Inscription of the Galaxy. Heck, I don't even remember when that that event was. Was that before the anniversary? But even then, I couldn't tell you who. I think it was a recruiting event, and of course, those are always spoofed, and I never really paid too much attention to it. I just, lack of interest is a lot of it, and there's no motivation to really get to the top of these leaderboards, especially after they burned a lot of corporations from delaying in their customer rewards for so long. But that's a frustration that has happened to a lot of people from back then. Whether or not that's an issue nowadays is still TBD. Those people that had won the Galaxy leaderboard events, I have no idea whether or not they got their rewards. So the competition follows an elimination format in the first round featuring 16 teams selected according to the rules. Corporations have a chance to win a Bodyguard Dreadnought OptBox with exclusive league commemorative medals and corporation standings and other generous rewards. Only battleships and ships with lower tonnage are allowed to participate. Yes, so it's no more super superpower. So, or even just capitals in general, people using the fax ships to rep and all that sorts of stuff. That it really, I don't know, in previous corporation clashes, it basically came down to who had more capitals and who had more fax. And how they used them. Could luck be on their side too? Sure. But in this case, it just seems that battleships and other ships of lower tonnage are allowed to participate, which I think is fine. I think it actually puts it more fair. More fair for sure. During the event, if you encounter issues or have any suggestions, please feel free to provide feedback to us, Capsuleers. Let's work together to improve the competition step by step. All right. I'm not going to read the rest of that. They do go on for a little bit. But yeah, when that registration opens up, I'll be interested to see who registers for it. So the Waste Seeker Combat Test. This event is from September 24th to November 10th. So in case you didn't know, in the events page on the very top, you have the Waste Seeker Combat Test. So you go into it, and it is a no-loss test. It's you can test your skills on the Waste Seekers and go from there. And and of course that they are limited in the amount that you can do. And of course, every week they will add more and more and more, all the way up to the final week of November, where you can do the final, the super hard Waste Seekers. Now I'm trying to bring that info up right now. Okay, yeah, Capital Super Expert is what it's called, and that's not going to open up until very late, and probably, yeah, October 7th to November 11th is when that's going to that open up, the Waste Seeker Combat 3.1 and forward. So from there, once you beat it, you actually get a medal. It looks like a little compass, and that is your medal. Waves driven by the wind, victory among the stars, awarded to Capsuleers as proof of being the Capital Ship Elite Pilot who completed Node 3.6 in the Capital Super Expert difficulty in the Waste Seeker. So if you have a super, this is easy mode. Every single one of these has been easy mode. In a Visago or a VAC, you could probably do it relatively easy as well. Maybe pull a bit more range and do the kiting method. But prior to that, if you're doing this, of course you're doing it solo, but if you're trying to do it in battleships and such, then you might have a difficult time in some of the latter combat tests. So during the event, Capsuleers can enter the combat test through the Faction Wargames button in the station. The Super and Expert, suitable for advanced battleship tonnage or higher, with enemies mainly being medium and small, high-speed Waste Seeker ships. And of course, the event, you'll get LP, award vouchers, personal medal, and faction merits. Okay. Optimizations. The Navy issue carriers and tactical carriers and other new ships now support high-sec ITC delivery. Oh, the frustrations of traders all over New Eden. Yeah, it's people open an op box in JITA or something and then they can't move it. Eventually we knew this was going to happen. And so, that was kind of a question too when they made that available. Hey, what's going on with this? Am I even going to be able to move it? Imagine selling a capital and the person who buys it can't even move it. That's like a day one swiper. Hey, I bought a capital ship. I'm going to go try ratting in it. You can't undock. Yeah. All right. You can now report a message by long pressing it instead of just tapping once. All right. So if people are doing some chat PvP and you don't like their message, you can now report it like that. Advanced units such as the Pulse Crystal Capacitor Reinforcement and Aerospace Tactics Precision Reinforcement are now available for reverse engineering, allowing higher level units to be obtained. All right. So that is pretty much it for optimizations. And then they had some bug fixes here. I'm just going to run through these real quick. And if there's one that actually piques my interest, I'll harp on it for a little bit. Bug fixes. They fixed an issue where the clear sky and comet skins might display as white. They fixed an issue where reconnecting after disconnection could fail. Yeah, that's happened quite a bit. An issue where some ships using a Starbreak skin displayed incomplete effects. Fixed an abnormal display issue with the Chameleon and Fiend Astral Cat skins. Just pause real quick on that. The Astral Cat, I've been seeing a lot of screenshots of the cat having balls. And it's kind of funny to see. Anyway, fixed a rare issue where corporation contracts could require entering transaction codes multiple times. Fixed a journal categorization issue in the wallet interface when using Quick Exchange. Fixed a decimal precision issue in the delivery box description. Fixed the icons for certain rigs in the faction store. Fixed text issues in the inventory filter interface. Renamed Orca's rigs mineral hold to correct term, ore hold. Fixed an issue with a reusable portrait items. All right. Ember Sea content adjustments. The anniversary has ended, and future season 2 reward seasons, S2, whatever that is, seasons will no longer include the anniversary knowledge base. Okay, that's it. Oh man, I'm glad that's over. It's been a while since I've done that. Having all that reading material, oh, it's terrible, terrible. But in Eve Echo's defense, that is the largest patch notes that they've had in quite a while. Since prior to on September 10th, they had a pretty hefty patch notes as well. Celebration event was there, loyalty points. They did some things for some ships. So I don't know. I suppose the disguise operations. The people misusing the camouflage functionality. Now that's been primo entertainment watching people PvP in the disguise. And actually that actually kind of meshes into coming up news with VVV. So, all right, that is it for the patch notes. So, all right. Now now that everybody's asleep, let's wake you up a little bit. And I still haven't really seen any screenshots of anybody that is much more of a hoarder than me. And remember, I do have 1B ISK on the desk for that too. If you have the highest amount of M3 hoarded in a single hangar, but yeah, just an interesting, fun little thing there. I definitely do not want to be the hoarder of New Eden. All right. That's all I gotta say about that. All right. So in community news, let's talk about this real quick, right? Community news, a lot of stuff's been happening in the previous weeks. SHH had recently done a fireside, and I'm actually surprised I hadn't got the leaked audio from that. Not only did nobody that I seen record it on the SHH side, but heck, I hadn't even seen Spies recorded yet. I haven't even seen it yet, so I figured that would have been released and leaked, but it has not, because I still want to go back and re-listen to the fireside that had happened. Of course, I was out of town, so usually I would record it, but I was out of town, so it is what it is. But the people that attended it, SHH has been having a number of things happen recently in the past couple weeks, and the first one being with VVV. So as people probably know by now, VVV had left the Silent Federation, and they have their frustrations. And of course, during the fireside, Hayu had mentioned some of those frustrations as, a character by the name of Yakai and possibly some others using a disguised wyvern and roaming deck and other SHH areas and killing crabbers. Now, when he departed Silent, Yakai and VVV, it was stated as, a lot of people just crab, they don't PvP, they don't form up for defenses, all that type of stuff, right? And so Yakai was using that disguise and was killing crabbers and was basically doing SHH a favor, right? Well, seemingly there's been a lot of chatter, some frustrations, people losing these ships to blues, even though they're disguised. They were blue at the time, and losing capitals and Rorks and all that type of stuff. Now, in Yakai's defense, could he have been helping the Federation, killing the Crabbers and AFK people? Sure, because other people roam SHH, and that's not unknown. But there's a lot of people. We got Sus and Hack and all sorts of people from all over New Eden that roam deck and seek AFK kills. I mean, there was one yesterday with a Rourke that's been, granted, supposedly he wasn't AFK because he activated mods and stuff, but it was a lonely Rourke and 100 billion ISK Rourke at that, and he died by Panicotta, from a Raven. So, there's stuff that happens like that, and Yakai stating that he's doing SHH a favor is one thing, but at the end of the day, blue on blue, even as a disguise, it's frowned upon, and ultimately they decided to leave the Federation. Now, I don't know if it's over that specific instance or a culmination of other instances. I did try getting a lengthy statement from Yakai regarding his departure, but basically summed up as their SHH is using the dues that they pay to pay X and CRB to not attack them. Whether that's a debt or if that's current, that is unknown. But there seemingly is some issues at the SHH leadership level, either in communication or what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, I can't think of it right now, but it's not conspiracy, but it's something along those lines, where they are, very communicative as to where funds are going and such. But I just don't know what CEOs are being told as far as all these happenings in the upper leadership of SHH. Now, after talking with a lot of people regarding, some of these departures and such, and I've spoke to a number of people that are not just loyal, members, but more so kind of frustrated corporation members of other corporations and alliances. And they just see a lack of leadership in SHH, and a lot of it is post Taylor, as to everybody has known like what happened there. And now with the new leadership, people are kind of expressing some of these frustrations with that, and some of it is like a change in structure within the leadership. And so from what I heard, and this is what I don't know, is the segregation of alliances within the Silent Federation is not all under one anymore. And so in that case, Bot 5 is basically on their own. VVV would have been on their own. Tulu, I think, was part of SHH at the time. And then, some of the other corporations and alliance, all the others that were in SHH proper were on their own, right? And so then, of course, they had to have dedicated FCs for those. And it seemingly threw a wrench in a lot of the structure that had happened in previous administrations during Taylor administration and prior. So again, I think there's a lot of frustrations happening at the leadership level that's causing people to make decisions like these. So VVV was one. And of course, during the fireside, they're talking about no offensive attacks on VVV. Basically, they are free to roam, but they were not, SHH, I mean, were not actively hitting Citadel timers. Now, unlike VVV, VVV was hitting Citadel timers. And so on September 25th, just a couple days ago, this last Thursday or Thursday night, Friday morning, depending on what time zone you're in, there was the Battle of Y1918, which is in Branch. Silent had formed up a fleet to defend those citadels, in which they did. And there was some hefty losses on that. So let me go to my screen here, and I have the final blow numbers up here. So from September 25th Y19, and you can see all here the top kills that had happened in that time. The Battle of Y1918 or 1918, 83 kill mills. VVV lost 6.3 trillion, and SHH lost 556 billion, and that was at the time of writing. And so after that, I don't know if any more kind of smaller ones had gone through, but as far as the big ones go, you can see on the screen here, a Superbia, VVV had lost a Superbia, a Hell, a Wyvern, and it looks like 5 Visagos right there. And then amongst some other capitals like Kakura, Valraven, Naglfar, amongst some other capitals, Bane. And of course, SHH did take some losses too, but none of them were citadels. With just not citadels, I mean supers. And you could see too that even then, Slate lost a Moros bodyguard, so that was probably the most expensive one that SHH had lost. But regardless, they did lose a few capitals, 556 billion amongst their other fleet. So at the time of too, and interesting enough, there was Zhao from AOA was there, and supposedly he had helped bubble the VVV fleet and caused some issues there as to why some of those ships had gotten killed. So big rip there. It's just, yeah, it's crazy. Can't repackage anything. I have too much stuff. Dang, I'm still beating you, Sinner. I'm still beating you. All right, so that was the Battle of Y1918. I wasn't there as it happened about midnight my time. Was it midnight? I think it was, because I woke up to this. I think it was like midnight, 1 o'clock my time when this actually happened. So, big fight, a lot of supers involved. SHH formed up to defend Citadel. Of course, VVV was there to attack him. So, now with Tulu, more recently, Tulu had announced their departure of SHH, and what they had done is they had actually left the alliance and then created their own alliance. Now, some are saying that it's part of AOA, though I don't really see that. So unless I tried getting a statement from Romo, the leader of Tulu, and I guess he's been pretty busy. He wasn't able to get me a statement in time to be able to do the show and read it off. But they left, of course, with frustrations as well in the in the Silent Federation. So I was curious as to why, and I'd still like to hear why. And I have a feeling I know why, but I'd like for him to give me a statement on that as to why. Now, other news as regarding that type of stuff, and I just see a lot of chatter. Of course, I see the alliance and I see the defense fleets and all that stuff coming up, but as well as frustrations from the other corporation. Now, yeah, here we go. General chat ping. You're in SHH leadership. You should be able to get this info. I'm not in SHH leadership, and I have not been since I've been in HTP. So when I left Red One as a co-CEO and went to HTP, I basically lost all my accesses, basically. And if I hadn't lost it, I left it because I was no longer a officer position. So yeah, I don't have access to that type of stuff anymore. So it's just basically rip Red One. Red One has its own SH alliance now, right? It's just called SH. But I did initially ask Swiftness, but Swiftness, in respect, told me that he was retired and he forwarded me to Romo. So initially, Chelsea, yes, I did ask Swiftness because at the time I didn't know he wasn't you know, I was under the impression that he still was. But like I said, I probably know why, some of the reasons why they left the alliance and made their own. But I'll wait for the statement on that. So yeah, it is what it is there. But regarding some other stuff too, you know, and there's been leaked screenshots, and I'll only share this one because it was a leaked screenshot from Legion, specifically within the SHH Alliance, as to what should we do as a corp. And they put a corporation poll within their corp chat here, and 34% says joining the alliance nice and period basis. So they're looking to jump probably as far as possible to get the best crabbing in New Eden that they can get, just so they don't have to defend their SOBs anymore. So it is what it is. Like I said, I wouldn't share this if this wasn't leaked elsewhere, but seemingly, like I said, there's frustrations among other corporations that seem to be coming to light as far as this alliance structure been happening. So yeah, that's basically it. HR Alliance. All right. So the next big thing, you know, as far as supers being lost, a lot of supers got lost in that Y1918 fight. But again, there's been some more SHH supers that are lost during this battle in well, let me mute this here real quick. And Bilibili AOA, they had hot dropped on a CNDS that was full of supers here. And so like I said, Bilibili has the video of it, of them dropping in on them. And it's a total of 20 minutes long. But here you could see how they engaged the supers, and of course they're hitting the PYRT, and some of the damages from that. You can see here, here's one super Nyx for 1.4B, a Hell for 1.4 T. That's a T, not a B. A Hell for 1.2 T. A Visago here, 499 billion. This is interesting, a VVV one. How did this get in here? Wait a minute, is this even? No, it's in this. Wait a minute. This is okay. So these two were in the CNDS, and then this one, this Visago actually died in New Eden, not in a CNDS, but in WAC Tech HW. And so here's some more capital losses that had happened. I was like, why is odds in here? They're not part of this. And again, they lost a Aeon there. And then here's another one from the CNDS, a Nyx 1.1T, and then a Hell from WAC. So whatever battle that was in WAC Tech HW, there was some decent super losses. I don't know if those were baited or what. I'm pretty sure I had saw something that so PYRT was in a VVV, was in VVV at the time. Oh, okay. AOA baited them through the spy in VVV. Yeah, I heard about that. I heard about the spy. It took something like 12 days to come up with that plan and do that. So there's some more super losses right there. Now, in case you didn't know, Final Blow did the update on the website for the kill mails, and they are pretty quick. I think there's a 2-hour delay. Now, this update happened a couple weeks ago. This isn't really new. Now, it's the first time that I've mentioned it on the podcast, but Final Blow, now that it's back and working, it's so good. It's so good. It pulls PvE losses, it pulls everything, and I think the PvP losses, maybe it's 2-hour delay, or they're all 2-hour delay. But here it does show Even, and which is kind of funny because Final Blow was pulling info even out of disguised characters. And so, in a way, yes, according to the game, it was disguised, but according to Final Blow, it actually showed their name or their fighters' names and stuff like that. And that kind of revealed some of the secrets that people were trying to hide. Kind of revealed a lot of things that were people trying to do some blue fuckery with. So, again, Final Blow is back, and they have the best of the week, the best of the month, all that. But more interestingly enough, they have here a search, and this search function is absolutely amazing. And it's just super great. You could filter by ship, and so if I do, I just want to see how many Sciences had been lost. Let's call it the next. Let's call it within the last day. So between yesterday and today, let's see how many Sciences have been killed. I always love me a good Sciencey lost mail. So let's check these. Oh, one. Odia. No, that's not a killer. I don't want the killer. Victim, sorry. Filter by ship, Sciencey. Is always good to play with. And if you hadn't played around with this is really good. Here we go. Some Sciencey losses. 7 Sciencey losses within the last day. So, yeah. And it shows their system and all that and their corporation. But now, if I click on it, and unfortunately it doesn't pull up. Oh, there it is. There is the kill mail. Bell out there getting some kill mails. I know a lot of them too. Some of them are really good to see when they die by rats, and it'll actually show that. But yeah, here's a disguised one. This BBL in Sciencey and Deterid was taken down by a disguised player in an Apocalypse Navy issue. How about that? Yeah, look at that fit. Maybe it deserved to die. It deserved to die. And seemingly enough, there is a lot of ships in New Eden that basically deserve to die. And Final Blow will definitely let you know that. Best of the month. And let me see if that Rourke that died yesterday is still on here from Panicotta. I know it was about 180B. Here it is. Now, people were talking about this fit. This had happened yesterday, and Panicotta got this Rourke. And look how many warp stabilizers and warp cores it had on it. Maybe it deserved to die. Just maybe. Yeah, nice fit. Yeah. So there you go. There you go. Final Blow is pulling data from the game against terms of service. None of us consented for our in-game activities to be exported like this. Final Blow tracks all disguised kill mails and more data not shown on their website, but chooses to share the data only with selected strategic partners. That I find to be interesting, and even if it were to be true, I don't know who would be even on that payroll. So, yeah, interesting statement there. Is it against terms of service? According to NetEase, it is. But at the end of the day, I do think that there's an ethical, unethical kind of battle happening between that and Final Blow. So there is that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Though you would agree it's very nice. Does Nomobi was good for its time, but when it comes to this type of stuff and actual numbers and nobody doing photoshops or any of that stuff, it's a decent tool to have. And of course, the Gulag has the bot, the Final Blow bot, where it will auto post a kill mail if it's over a certain value, which I need Airbus to get a GitHub code for that bot and share it publicly so people can put those on their discords and not just the gulag. I think that would be great if he had that, if he could do that. So Moby is straight broken now. I haven't used Moby. Final Blow has been it, man. Final Blow is where it's at, and I absolutely love the search feature that they put in here. And what's cool is because I have all iOS, I'll actually take a name or an ID from the game, and because I'm on a Mac, all I have to do is click paste, and it will search the character, and immediately I already know what ship that they use, basically. And so it's been very fluid as far as intel gathering too. And yeah, just overall great tool, I think. Is it unethical? According to terms of service, it is. But that's a battle for NetEase. Yep. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's basically all that I had on that type of stuff. I still had this video going from the CNDS drop of these kill mails. Young Uncreativium was one of these losses. Crabbing in here, so there's that. Leviti was in here. Yep, he was. So botting is unethical and sinking as well. Yeah, it's very true. Don't disagree there. So yeah, and if NetEase is trying to do their best as far as botting and all that type of stuff goes, but the bots are going to evolve too. Eventually, it's going to get to a point where it's a cat and mouse chase, and they're just going to keep on making changes, and whether or not those quality of life changes are going to affect the greater population and not just the bots, that's another thing. And so they're kind of treading a fine line there. Final Blow dev refuses to add GDPR required privacy disclosures to its website. Yeah, you can. Now I don't know that much about that and as to why he did that, but yeah, you can take the unethical stuff to him on Reddit. I read that previous conversation too, but Plurk is unethical too. Yeah. I see what Plurk says. Plurk. I see what he says. So that is that's basically it that I've had for community news. Now, not really too much else has been going on that I've heard of. And of course, I am Discord active and I'm actively, reading chats and all that type of stuff. And I just haven't heard of really anything, people reporting anything. So, and the times that I do ask, I don't get anything. So regarding the SHH thing as to why corporations have left or joined other alliances, I was told that Hayu was out of town and couldn't reply to me. So that is maybe for another day to get some sort of statement or disclosure as to what the heck is going on within SHH. Frustrations aside, if you happen to be a part of some of this chatter, then DM me. And we could talk about it some more. If there's any questions, you could always come at me with some questions in DM and go from there. But as far as my little order tournament here that we had, didn't really have anything. Sinner, I only got one screenshot, right? 49 million M3. Still hadn't beat me, so I guess I'm the ultimate hoarder in New Eden as of right now. So I thought that would have been fun. Heck, even one bill couldn't even get some screenshots flown, but it is what it is. Tulu couldn't pay the bills. I don't know about that. I hear some corps can't even pay the bills. Dude, if my CEO from 2020, heard of some of the fees that corporations have to pay alliances just to be in the alliance, they'd be doing backflips in the grave. Like it's crazy dumb. It's crazy. But at the meantime, meanwhile, I'm not running a corporation or alliance, so easy for me to say. We snapped a trap for their spy bait. It was just in the wrong time in the wrong place. We weren't crabbing in there. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Spy bait. Yeah. I'm getting some stories mixed up too, because there is something about like a 12-day spy bait um fleet that happened, and a bunch of super losses resulted in it. So between that, serious question: do you miss Taylor's leadership? Taylor, do I miss his leadership? As for now, I could speak on a membership level. No. Now I have talked with CEOs regarding how he ran the alliance and the frustrations of the current alliance leadership structure. And people said that Taylor's administration was better, and they do miss it. And that's partial as to why some of these things are happening right now. So yeah, swiftness. So now, if I was a CEO, I did have my frustrations at the time regarding certain things and certain fees and certain dues and this and that, and every week was something new, and I was sick and tired of doing what do you call them, polls for implants and all that. Like, I had my own personal reasons as to why I wasn't really participating in any of that stuff. So, and that was partial to the reason why I left all leadership anyway, too, was under that administration. Now, if we look back and it's like, dang, maybe it wasn't so bad. But at the same time, I'm not a CEO, and I'm not in those chats to be able to see what's all going on, what people are saying, what other CEOs are saying in those two other CEOs, what Alliance leadership is doing. And of course, there's a whole Alliance council, a lot of people, a lot of Discord warriors and such that, want to run the Alliance and certain things. And that is what it is. And seemingly, like I said, there's just some frustrations that are happening. And I don't know if it's due to people that are AFK, people that don't know how to play the game, can't get with the times, can't get FCs. And that's another thing too. And a lot of times it's like, man, we're kicking FCs, and I say we're as an SHH, and from the outside looking in, how come you're destroying all of your good FCs? How come you're just like demoting them or kicking them from the alliance? Jodo is a good example of that, and that's kind of where some of the downfall had even started. It's like, damn, we can't even put up a good defense fleet anymore without Joda. And then they're trying to bring in new FCs. And the problem with new FCs was that one, granted the experience, but two, some of them were part of the other alliances, right? So VVV and Tulu and Bot 5. But then when the restructure happened, there's been some changes when it comes to that. And so some FCs got demoted, some FCs got instated, and not reinstated, but constituted as to, okay, you're the new FC for so-and-so alliance. And there's a lack of appreciation. And these are just stories that I've heard already going on. So could it be amplified within chats that are OPSEC to me, of course? But or could they even be remedied in OPSEC chats that I have no access to? Of course they can be. But again, these are just stories, rumblings that I'm hearing around New Eden, some disgruntled people, some frustrated people as to what the hell is going on with the Alliance. Now, as a member in our corporation, we seem to be doing perfectly fine. Now, is that clouded by a lack of intelligence? Not intelligence, but I mean like intel. Is that clouded by a lack of, the info not coming out? Could be, but at the end of the day, we don't really know. All right, so, but yeah, the FC situation is definitely an issue, and it has been harassed quite a bit as to certain form ups and all that type of stuff, and CTA numbers and all that type of stuff. So, and of course, it's always the reasoning too. The reasoning is absolutely dumb. If Joda got kicked over a POS slot, that's peak entertainment right there. And when I was a CEO, and I remember people would fight over POS slots, and especially if it's ran by the corporation, like the corporation owns it. Oh man, people fight over POS slots. Oh, I just went brain dead talking about that stuff, and absolutely despised it. That's why I don't own a POS, because I don't want to deal with any of that type of stuff and the drama behind it. But at the end of the day, if that's what the real issue was, so be it. Let alone then the super being stolen after that, right? Because supposedly it was Mr. Pays or Mr. Tays or MJD's, whoever's it was. And that's why I heard, that's why MJD won't come back. He said he doesn't have a super to fly because Joda still has it. Where's my drum? My drum. Man, I should be a comedian. That was funny right there. If SHH falls, then AOL will kick into gear. Yeah, that's if everybody wants a blue donut, then so be it. It sounds like a lot of people just don't want wars. They want to crab. They want to grind ISK, and mostly corporations. And you know, a lot of people are at fault of this. Is people have to do these things in order to pay their dues just to be in alliance. Well, shoot, where the heck is our SRP money going to? Is it paying other corporations, or is it actually paying for SRP that supposedly we're getting? So a lot of things like that. But the clarification really needs to come from the leadership of these alliances and corporations. Now, if I didn't want to run for a alliance leader, but shoot, it's starting to look enticing. I know this came into, you know, what was community news now into kind of a little rant, and not trying to make it that way, but like I said, there's just a lot of frustrated people that are commenting on it, and have been DMing me about some of their frustrations too. So the spot needed to be handed over 150 B in payments a month. Now that's ridiculous. Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. And if it's other corps reaping the benefit of that, then it's a major rip. Because if you're supposed to be, if anybody's in the know, and I mean, New Eden doesn't really have to know this. This is more for internal. But if your alliance leadership is allocating funds, remember with Doge and what they did in the United States with like cutting, you know, government funding and all that type of stuff. And it's like, well, why are we funding this? Why are we funding that? Like a huge audit went on, right? And they were cutting a bunch of government funds, right? For a lot of things that people were like, why are we paying for this? You know, if you were to do that in your alliance now and ask for an audit as to where the funds are going, first of all, they'd probably tell you to shove it in your face and pound sand, because they probably won't tell you, especially the alliances that are ran by puppets. Now, others might actually disclose that info. And they say, well, this so much goes to SRP, this goes to running alliance, this goes in so-and-so's pocket, etc., right? Now, if there's alliances that are paying for corporations, either for attack or defense, offense or defense, then that's a big yikes, especially when so-and-so alliance isn't even seeing any of that stuff, or they're supposed to be paying for defense, but yet they're still roaming your space and wreaking kills that way. And then, of course, when you say something, you're told that, well, it is what it is. You know, we can't do anything about it, when ultimately they can be. So, yeah, whether or not you get that disclosure, I have the feeling it's going to be the latter, where it's going to say, go pound sand. We don't have to tell you where our funds are going. But what do I know, right? So, 5 receiver. Yeah. Anyway, supposedly there's super SRP, but I have yet to see it. Whether or not that's a thing, I have no idea. Whether or not paying mercenaries is higher priority, whether it's offense or defense, Um, seems to be the case. Whether or not your alliance is in debt, all that plays into effect. But again, if everyone joins AOA, where's the fun in that, right? So it is what it is. Yeah, they can pound sand. If VVV falls, then AOA moves into branch and is at the SHH doorstep. It's very true. I mean, AOA does what AOA wants anyway. And with VVV leaving the Federation, it was speculated that they would join AOA. But at the same time, I'd also heard that, and I mean, AOA has hated Yakai for a while. Yakai has been actively, infiltrating AOA and destroying a lot of those ships and their ships and capitals and all that type of stuff, super type combat. And AOA isn't really happy with Yakai in that aspect. Now, would they look at him as a valuable asset? Most likely. But again, like I said, there's probably like a hate there, that he's that he may not be as welcomed as what many people may think. So there is that. Now, if everybody's going to dogpile on SHH, I mean, it is what it is at that time too. They've seen it before. Whether or not corporations are going to do anything, I don't know. But ultimately, it's up to the leadership to get active and actually decide to up their game. Now, if they want to focus on corp dues and crabbing and mining and doing all this bullshit, then they can do that. Or they can actually focus on playing the game as how it's supposed to be played. So, at the end of the day, it is a PvP game, regardless of whether or not you consent to it. And that's all I got. I know a podcast turned into a rant. How long have I been going? An hour? Over an hour? Bring back the Firefly War. Return Longbow Vexor Doctrine. Yeah, we can reminisce on a lot of wars that had happened back then. And Rika, you had mentioned the Firefly War, and I've seen people talk about previous wars, and they're talking about the Pangen and all that type stuff. And heck, dude, I remember the bot wars, and then coming to SHH, and then doing the Firefly War, and some of the battles that had happened there. And like those were the biggest battles in EVE Echo's history. We've never seen battles that large. And yeah, they weren't even, and there weren't even capitals at that time. It was all subcaps. They were all the best. Yeah, they were the most fun. But I liked personally when Matarella, people know him as Niker, when he was FC, when SHH was joined forces with Pew, and they attacked Pantheon and Genfen. When Niker was FC, those were the best. Those were the best times. Like, they had fleets in different time zones. And what I mean by that is like they had a fleet, and then they would reping the fleet for the new time zone when they logged in. That's how long those fleets were. I mean, Niker was doing 8 hours a day fleets during those wars. And at the time, I think it actually got broken. The most amount of citadels that died in one day was like 27 or 28 citadels from Pantheon all died in one day from that fleet. And it was like an 8-hour op, maybe even longer. And yeah, those were the days, right? So again, those are long past us too, because Capital Warfare has kind of, I don't know, a lot of alliances kind of muscled their way into winning certain fights because of their fleet compositions, and others had to have adapted to it. And those that were slower to adapt, of course, took the hits, right? So, but yeah, it's nice to talk about some of those older wars and kind of reminisce on some of those instances, especially for us longtime players that have been playing since the beginning of the game. There's a lot of new players, and they haven't experienced a fleet where there's 1,500 people in it, in local, where we were having tie-dye times 6. Literally, it was playing the game in slow motion. And yeah, you just couldn't, like, those were the days. Yeah, those were the days. ZID was a major battle. That was the one that had 1,500. And then the Fireflies, it was FTAC something or other in Branch that had 1,200. Yeah, EE tie-dye was garbage. Yeah, you're right. It was absolutely horrible. There should have been no reason that they needed to do that, but maybe because it was a mobile game, they had to do something like that. Is bad. But yeah, maybe someday we could do a show just talking about old wars. That would be legit. Get some special guests and talk about that. Some perspectives that we may not have seen before in previous guests that I've had. But a lot of people that have been playing this game now, especially going on 5 years, have had multiple instances, multiple experiences, multiple corporations that they've been in, all with their own stories and perspectives that have never been told before, at least like on a podcast platform. And a lot of it, even though the stories differ, the experience is the same. As far as a single battle, but to their perspective, I may jump a gate into 1,200 people and be like, oh shit, I put the brown pants on, and then all of a sudden I'm a pod, and I got robbed the rest of the fight. Or there's other people where they survived, and that's where they tell the story from, is they were doing this, doing that, and they ended up surviving and wiping out the fleet, and people were black screening and so on. A lot of those stories don't get told nowadays because a lot of people had either quit or retired, quit, or they're too new to even know any of that stuff. And so I remember killing a Vindicator for 17B, C-typed, almost started a war with Polobot. Oh man, I remember Polobot. Yeah. But even then, like, there's been a lot of changes in New Eden that prior to modern day New Eden, with people doing loot boxes, they're dropping boxes to uncloak people and uncloak cams, all the way up to spies and leadership and acquiring accounts and doing all that type of stuff. Like, it's just, there's a lot of stories out there that go left untold because a lot of people just quit and rage quit and all that. And so there was another super loss this morning that had happened again in SHH, and of course that person rage quit. Was it a rage quit? I don't know. He's only done it 4 times now, but unknown as to why such the haste departure again. But 3 times. Yeah. Well, he said he's not coming back, but he comes back. So he says he's not coming back, but he comes back every time. I don't know. Some people just love this game. They need to take the break and eventually just come back. Now, those that are retired, maybe they do. Panda Pirate, it was by the name of the character name was Renta Concord, piloted by the Discord name Wildlands, super pilot within SHH. So, and he's active. Like, he was active this morning, he was active last night, and the times that I've been online, he's been in Alliance chat and all that. Like, he's very loyal. And he just got that ship back, right? And ended up getting it killed by Yakai and his fleet. So either getting baited or lack of preparations, I think, is probably more the excuse as to what had happened there. But seemingly there is a multitude of reasons as to why he lost that and then decided to quit. The fit too, yeah. It's always the fit, right? And at the time of, it's like, dude, he probably does DR in that ship, or he has it fit for PvE, for CNDS. It really just depends. Or he's broke. One of the two. If he's only broke, then I mean, it is what it is. I fall under that umbrella. But I often see it, like that Rorqual kill. You see the kill, and then you're like, oh shit, well, maybe it deserved to die because of that fit. Those Aura warp cores and those warp stabilizers didn't really save him for however many points he had on him. But only the lost mails that you see the shitty fits, right? So on the good fits, on the ships that work and the ships that actively people get kills with in PvP, some like Panicotta and all that, they get copied, right? And so people will copy that and they'll use that to PvP to their advantage to kill the people that are not fit properly. So that's very much a thing in New Eden, very much. I've seen Panicotta's fit get copied a number of times. I've seen people's frigates and bomber, all that stuff get copied on their lost mail. Of course, those people will lose ships, like Panicotta did the other day, got sniped by a Bane or whatever it was. Like, it will happen. Eventually the fit will get out there, and people will copy it because it works. And then until it doesn't work, then I guess they'll just keep using them. So where them supers at, right? Yeah. Now it's the Rorks that can tank, a bunch of dreadnoughts and survive and all this type of stuff. Those are the Rorks that need to be copied. But a lot of time, people cannot afford to bling out the ships to be able to do that type of stuff. Nobody gets to copy my BG fit. I shouldn't talk because I'm known to have really bad fits. I'm so bad at fitting ships, I have other people do it for me. That's how bad I am. But at the same time, oh shit. I don't know if that came across my mic, but I just had a really loud thunder strike. a crackle of thunder. We're getting some storms here, so maybe it's time that I end this before my electricity goes out. How about that? Well, to end it there, I will say thank you for all that had participated in my rant and in today's podcast, covering all the latest type of stuff going on in New Eden, I should say. It's always good talking to other people that are interested in this game and still playing in it. And, I still play every day and I'm pretty active at a member, role within Corp, as well as I'm always on Discord too, kind of getting into the stories and maybe talking a little shit here and there. And, I enjoy that type of stuff too. So, you could always come here and talk with us here on the Discord. Again, I enjoyed talking to the audience today in today's podcast, and grateful to be able to do a podcast today because it's been so long since we've done it. But it's nice to get back in the groove. As long as there's some content and there's some stories and there's some things going on, then we'll have some content for you guys too. But upcoming shows, I would like actually to have people on and talk about past experiences and why they do things and all that, and trying to get people to talk is kind of rough nowadays compared to in the beginning where I was able to find a guest for just about anything. Nowadays, nobody really wants to talk, and I just find that to be unfortunately. So until the next time, I want to thank you everybody for coming to today's show, listening to my rant, joining us in the on-air chat, and this will soon be up on the YouTube for playback and a little shit talk. But of course, I always enjoy the feedback, and hit me up. So 07 out there, take it easy.